Hello and welcome to Inside Music, episode number 179. As always, I'm your host, James Shotwell, and it is great to be with you again. My guest this episode is none other than the rock band, the Aliens, the iconic Gwar. Yes, if you're unfamiliar with Gwar, I don't even know where to begin. They're aliens from another planet who are here on Earth to kill people and make music and do a whole bunch of other things that we're going to get into in this conversation. But before we go anywhere, before we get to how you've been doing, how I've been doing, I want to tell you right up front that this episode of Inside Music is a little bit different than everyone we've done before, primarily because it is far more explicit. If you are a young person at home listening to this with your family, now would be a good time to turn off the show because it's going to cause some strange conversations. And if you're somebody who's very sensitive about things like sex, drugs, prostitution, violence, Donald Trump, politics, and pretty much anything that you think you probably shouldn't talk about with other people, then this might not be the episode of Inside Music for you. And I'm completely okay with you not listening to the whole thing. I mean, I understand that not everybody is into the same things that the guys in Gwar are into. And when I say guys, I mean aliens, of course, because they're not human beings and they don't live by the same moral code that the rest of us do. So know before you hit play on this, before we go any further, that this is an obscene episode of the show. And I don't even want to know how much you should take it seriously because Gwar lives in this weird gray area where they are talented musicians who write catchy songs, and they've been doing so for decades, and people come out to their show because it's a one-of-a-kind performance that involves blood splatter and storytelling and performance art, and it is something that everyone should see at least once. But if you're somebody who is very sensitive to any of the things I just mentioned, go ahead and sit this one out. There are 178 other episodes of the show. There will be hopefully at least 178 in the future. If you missed this one, it's not, a narrative where you're going to miss some story. So if you are sensitive at all to any of those subjects, please just go ahead and skip over this. If you're still here, let's go on. I sat down with the guys in Gwar a couple weeks ago when they were here in Grand Rapids, Michigan on their current headlining tour, the Use Your Collusion Tour, and we discussed life on the road for Gwar in the year 2019. The band had just come off a performance at Riot Fest, which is kind of where things begin, and then we talk about the bands that are on the tour. We talk about keeping the set fresh. We talk about what they do before and after the gig. We talk about destroying green rooms. We talk about a lot of things that I really hope my mom never has to hear me discuss with another person. But here we are. It's recorded, and it is my job as the host of this show to share with you what's happened. So after a lot of debate about sitting on this conversation or not, I just decided to share it with you because it is unique. It is a one-of-a-kind episode like nothing we've done before and probably will never do again because there is only one Gwar, and we are fortunate enough to live in a time when they are here visiting our planet. So this is my conversation with Gwar. But before we get there, we do need to go over the basics. This episode of Inside Music and all episodes of Inside Music are brought to you by Holics, the music industry standard for digital promotion. Now, what that means is that Holics works with record labels, artists, publicists, managers, and all sorts of other industry professionals to share new and unreleased music. And the artists that work with Holics are numerous. You have Gwar, you have Blink-182, Fall Out Boy, Green Day, Weezer, Tool, Niall Horan, A Perfect Circle, Slipknot, Killswitch Engage. The list goes on and on and on. Bruce Springsteen uses Holics to promote his music. And if it's good enough for the boss, it's good enough for you. So head over to Holics today and get your free trial. You go to www.holics.com. That's HAULIX.com. I also want to encourage you to head over to our YouTube channel. It's called Music Biz, Music B-I-Z, and we post 3 to 5 videos every single week detailing a wide range of industry topics. We would love for you to join us. We're about to cross the 300 subscriber threshold, and you could be that person. You could take us across the 300 mark. So please head over to YouTube and search Inside Music Podcast or Music Biz or Music Biz 101, any of those things, and you will find our videos, and you'll see me in the flesh telling you about the music industry. So head over there and check that out. And finally, if you live in North America or in Europe, Gwar is probably coming to a town near you, and you really, really should see them live, at least once. Again, if you're somebody who is sensitive to pretty much anything that could be found as offensive, it's probably not for you. But for everyone else, for those that like the lewd and crude stuff, Gwar is a show you cannot miss. And if you haven't seen them in a few years, go, because the show is very timely. They talk on things like immigration and legal proceedings and, the current presidential situation here in the United States. So go and see Gwar on tour. But for right now, just sit back, relax, and enjoy a conversation you'll never forget. So you guys are just loading in. Did you drive overnight and wake up here?
I always tend to wake up in the city that we're going to perform in. It's kind of like, the one of the positives of blackout drinking, binge drinking, I kind of look at it as more like a time travel thing. You black out and you wake up in the future.
Perfect. And you guys have only been on the road for a few days now, so you've only done a little bit of time traveling so far on this tour.
Just a little bit, yeah. We've done Norfolk and we just did Riot Fest, which was awesome.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. I saw some photos. Did you guys perform during the day at Riot Fest? Yeah,
unfortunately, under the sun, but that's okay.
Good. Hot and sweaty?
Yeah, well, the best part about performing earlier in the day is I get to do my favorite part of Riot Fest, which is miss other bands. So I was able to miss all of them, basically.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You guys are always a big draw at Riot Fest. I feel like you're one of the bands that people look forward to the most seeing whenever you're there. So middle of the day set's probably to help all those other bands maybe get someone to come out before or after waiting for Gwar.
I would hope so. And what other artist doesn't like to look out into the crowd and see people covered in Gwar blood?
So they know whose fans they're really watching their show.
Right. Well, we're claiming them as our own. Riot Fest has always been good to Gwar, man. They've had us back at least for the last 8 or 9 or 10, 30 years.
Roughly 30 years.
Roughly 30 years we've been playing Riot Fest. And, I don't know why they're so nice to us, because we're so mean and vindictive towards them, as we are to everyone. But, I'd have to say Gwar appreciates it, and we'll keep coming back as long as they'll let us keep fucking up.
A Riot Fest without Gwar or Andrew WK is probably not a Riot Fest at all. And you kind of need at least one of those two acts to cause a riot.
Exactly.
Well, other than that, how have the actual venue shows been going for this tour so far?
They've been going pretty good. We've been getting plenty of potted meat on this tour and sardines, and that's kind of what is listed as payment. We only play, of course, last night we were playing Sauget, Illinois, which is kind of like East St. Louis. And, we find by routing the tours in these really bad neighborhoods, we can get cost-effective illicit substances, because we're not into designer drugs. I like, crack cocaine, and the best place you're going to get that is, in the bad parts of town that smell like burning rubber.
Exactly.
And Sauget is definitely one of those towns.
You go to the huge big cities, all the drug prices are so much higher. Same drugs.
I mean, yeah, you can get delivery in Manhattan, but but I don't want to pay New York street prices.
Yeah.
When I just want Sandusky price drugs.
Sandusky's a good pull. I appreciate that. Well, I have this tour is actually pretty stacked. You guys have a lot of bands on this run. Is that treating you well so far? Did you guys get to pick all the bands that come out with you this time?
We always pick all the bands. Sometimes, we pick terrible acts as spite towards each other. But in this case, we have all great bands on this tour. There's Against the Grain, up-and-coming band from Detroit. Toxic Holocaust just joined the tour today. And Sacred Riot gets back together, and they're fucking killing it every night, which is great. So
I don't feel like kids today appreciate Sacred Riot enough. So I feel like it's you guys are doing your Lord's work of bringing them around.
Yeah, that's right. We're doing the work of the Lords and Masters, Gwar. Sacred Reich is definitely, I would have considered them almost part of that, maybe not the big four, but that's the lineage that I consider them quite legendary in that respect. But they're killing it every night. They're shredding it. They sound amazing.
Does Gwar think you? Do you guys think you have a responsibility to help these bands? I know you said sometimes you book the shit bands, but a lot of times a Gwar tour always stacked. Is it about raising the bar for yourself, or is it about kind of that helping everyone else kind of get the exposure that a Gwar show can offer?
No. This is not about exposure or helping anyone. These are completely selfish reasons for stacking the deck. My ultimate goal, I mean, really what we're doing is we're taking all these fans from all these opening bands and we're brainwashing them and hurting them, committing acts of violence and sexual violence against them so they will not come back to ever see them again. And that's part of Gwar's main goal is we want new people to kill because you can't kill the same person twice unless you're the reanimator.
Yeah, and there's only one reanimator, so
Right. We haven't mastered that yet.
Have you ever considered doing one of these trendy things where people don't have openers? They just do a 3-hour set with a break in the middle?
We have not yet reached that level of pretentiousness to where, it's like our... Gwar is a machine, and we all have big heads. But I don't think that this machine of heads would ever do something like, a night with Gwar.
It does sound more pretentious when you add the night with in the front of it. I like it.
Yeah,
It's a little too much pretentiousness.
It's awful. I mean, dude, who the fuck do these bands think they're... And plus, who the fuck wants to sit around and watch 3.5 hours of the same fucking band? I mean, I think we play an hour and 15 minutes too long. I really think it should be 5-song EP, play it, go in the backstage, get our dick sucked, and go home.
That's all you really need.
That's all the fans really need. I feel like we're giving them much more than they deserve. They're paying $20 for a show, and we're giving them a $22.75 show, and that's ridiculous.
It's like a Michael Bay movie. You get way more than you actually need.
Yeah, and we're not into philanthropy. We're into full-on rapist mode. I don't know.
It's been about 2 years since the last Gwar album. Keeping with tradition, you guys rarely go more than 2 or 3 without a new record. Is there new material in the Gwar universe?
Yes, there's always plenty of material in the vault. It's just trying to get everyone out of rehab and into the same room is the most difficult challenge that we face in terms of writing and recording records.
So can fans expect something to maybe be cobbled together in the next year?
I would hope so. We spent a lot of last year working on some stuff, and in between starting and leaving families, and ruining other people's lives outside of the band, we should be able to manage enough time to get together next year and put something forward. Fantastic.
Now you guys are going to Europe after this, correct?
Correct.
First time in 10 years.
First time in 10. Well, I mean. We've been over there secretly as spies and stuff,
First proper run in 10 years anyways.
First time as Gwar.
Now, is there a reason for the distance other than the obvious? Is it, or is Gwar banned from the UK or anything along those lines? 10 years to get back there?
No, it's just, European. It's, I'd have to say there's definitely a disconnect in the comedic aspect. They think we're just silly guys making all this stuff up. They don't understand the true reality that is Gwar. That we're not Lordy. Lordy's like guys in suits.
Yeah.
But we're not like that. This is real.
Yeah.
This is more real than wrestling.
Absolutely more real than wrestling.
And everyone that's not a fucking idiot knows that wrestling is real.
Yeah, a lot of the guys in suits and costumes that come out of the UK do seem to be a little bit more pretentious about their costumes. There's a lot of smoke and face paint and religiousness to it.
I mean, we're just like any other band, like Anthrax or whatever. We get up there in our street clothes. That's what
you look like.
Gwar's attire. I'm not getting dressed up to go play a gig. I make sure that I have my armor on because I'm steps away from battle at any moment in time, especially when, not everybody has people try to attack them during their rock and roll concerts like us, so I think we're probably one of the best bands that ever existed because of that. Yeah. Who else can defend themselves and shed blood and orgasm and have full penetration on stage and never stop the show.
All while carrying the weight of all that armor, which is really the impressive part to me. It seems
Exactly. You're a smart guy. I don't know if anybody ever told you that.
heavy. Probably no.
You're observant.
I was even hard to get in here this afternoon. I mean, you guys have a full army out there, ready to go.
Yeah, I'm not scared. I don't need no fucking security guards.
No. And, I mean, has anyone ever really tried to test it, though? People try to test it very often?
Oh, yeah. You know, we've knocked plenty of teeth out with microphone stands and fucking, you know, bloody swords and things like that. You know, we've had a lot of quote-unquote accidents befall, you know, some concert goers that got a little too comfortable and crossed the barricade, you know. But, yeah, you know, if you want to have a good rock concert, you got to break a few eggs.
I want to ask a little bit, how does Gwar feel about politics as we're heading into 2020? I know in the years past, some Gwar tours have taken brought the world of U.S. politics have come into the Gwar shows. Is that happening with this tour, with upcoming tours? Obviously, the name feels like it's being a little political.
Well, you know, Gwar has always liked to shine a light on things politically. You know, we are not politically motivated. We kind of, we get fucked no matter what.
Truth.
So, I guess us shining a light on the evils of the world, you know, basically to take some of the attention away from us and all the bad shit that we're doing, you know, because, I mean, guys like, you know, Trump and Gwar are not too dissimilar characters, I would have to say. You know, we share a lot of the same wants, needs, and desires, you know, such as, you know, we're into incest. Donald Trump is into incest.
True.
You know, I'm into taking things from people that need it. You know, you know, Gwar hasn't actively engaged in separating families, but, you know, I've abandoned plenty of families that I've started. So, I mean,
Basically the same thing.
like I said, we've got a lot in common with the Donald, you know, so, you know, I don't know.
Would he fit in on the home planet of Gwar, the Donald?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think he'd be able to survive physically, but mentally he's got the correct attitude.
He's in the right headspace for
He's in the right headspace to be just like us, you know.
Are there any other competitors in the field that you feel like have the Gwar's best intentions in mind, maybe on the Democratic side of things so far, or they're not up with Gwar?
Well, we almost did, you know, because you got guys, you know, guys and gals like Hill Dog and all that stuff, you know. Their ruse is a little bit more behind the curtain, so to speak. You know, they put on a face, and but behind the scenes they want the same things. They want greed. They want a private island full of children they can have sex with. You know, but that's what one thing Americans will never understand is that the political system is there to divide them, while behind that smoke screen they're all trying to do the same thing. They're trying to further the bloodlines of their reptilian ancestry.
Exactly.
You know? I mean, these people are all descendants of the Anunnaki from planet Nibiru, and you know we're going to expose that.
Yeah,
they're all in bed with the aliens.
Someone's got to wake them up. I think Gwar is the only people that can at this point.
Yeah, we're just not the favored group of aliens.
Yeah, well, that's rough.
Yeah, which is, you know, not being an American-born citizen, I'm having a lot of trouble running for president. But you know,
I think
we'll get there one day.
One day. Yeah, maybe. So we have a couple hours before showtime. What is the routine from here until you guys go on in about 6 hours from now?
Well, I open up my diary and I try and keep track of how many times I've masturbated in each venue. And just basically, you know, there's a couple of venues I didn't masturbate in some of the early days. But now I'm trying, you know, some people collect stamps. I like to paint the walls, you know, and try to see what kind of discount hookers are available.
Obviously.
You know, and back in the, you know, in the 90s when things were, you know, things were great. You know, we had different girls suck all our dicks, and now we have to have the same person suck all our dicks, you know. But, you know, there's tough economic times. You gotta be thrifty, and you gotta think forward thinking is the way to go.
Now, when you get to one of those venues that maybe you missed in the early days from, you know, maybe not deciding to masturbate at the time, do you try to make up for lost time? And what about one like this? I know these green rooms, they flipped them in recent years. They completely remodeled them. Do you got to start over? Or does the count just keep growing?
No, the count just keeps growing. You know, we like to do it behind things. You notice how in this dressing room, you know, they've cleverly screwed these paintings to the wall. But we can, I've got screwdrivers, and I can smear feces behind them, and they'll be looking for that smell for weeks. They'll clean underneath the couches. They'll throw them away, never thinking to look behind, you know, the whoever that is poster and find the shit that's smeared behind
People
it.
think blood is all you leave behind. They're wrong.
No. Feces leaves a lasting impression.
Well, so how much longer? This Gwar run just started. We're 5 dates in. How long does it go till? I think you end in Indianapolis. Is that in November?
I don't think it ever ends.
You're just on the road forever?
Just on the road
and then
forever.
You go to Europe.
Then we go to...
Hopefully you get to come back.
Hopefully.
I mean, you're leaving the U.S. at a time when it might not be easiest for aliens to come back.
You know, we're gonna be forced into deportation. That's how we get back for free. Yeah.
That's good. Make it so that they don't want you so much that we have to take you back.
No. they just sent us back to another country, and we're their problem now.
Great. I mean, this could become a world tour with that approach. You just jump around country to country.
Yeah, well, we're citizens of the world, you know, worldly people.
Exactly. Well, I thank you for finding time in your busy schedule today to chat with me about all these things. What do people need to know about Gwar heading into 2020? What can we expect? Further world domination?
They can expect to be disappointed beyond their wildest dreams.
Ah, well.
No, they should expect to fucking come see us in concert. Come to the fucking shows, buy the records, steal the records from your parents, steal the records from the stores, you know, drop out of school, listen to Gwar, pick up a guitar, and give it to us. I don't know. Do stuff.
Oh, one last question.
It's fun to do bad things.
How does Gwar feel about about ROG, the official Gwar cover band?
ROG from Schenectady. ROG is probably one of the better Gwar cover bands, but they all suck equally.
Have you seen them? Did you go to Gwar sneak in the back of the show and check those guys out?
Well, I've seen, you know, they're very attractive. They're a very attractive group of men. I'd have to say, you know, especially the guy who tries to emulate my guitar playing. He's very sensual looking. He's probably a delicate lover.
Who knows what could blossom between the two of you if you ever get to really connect.
I don't want to meet people that like me.
All right. No. Well, that's a good place to end this. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Pleasure's all yours.